Ah, yeah, that would have been bad if I had just been muted the entire time. All right, let's go. Hi, everyone. It's me. You're the best. Do you want to sit with me? Do you want to sit down? You can sit in one spot, but you can't move back and forth. Come on, if you want. This is trying to do literally anything. Okay, come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Hi, everyone. It's me, Heghmoh, and this is my assistant, Bean. And I'm back. It's been a while since we made a Prime video. If you've been following the stream or Discord, you may know it's been a crazy few months. I won't go into the details too much here, but I started multi-streaming on YouTube, I moved, and I quit my day job. Not necessarily because being a Final Fantasy XI content creator has been so incredibly successful, but here we are. If you'd like to support the channel, please follow me over at twitch.tv/Heghmoh or drop a like and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. It goes a long way. We stream Final Fantasy XI and other games several days a week, and we appreciate the support. This week, we're continuing our Prime Weapon video series and talking about Varga Purnikawa, the hand-to-hand Prime for Monk and Puppet Master. In this series, we've been showcasing each of the Prime weapons individually, generally looking at Stage 4 Primes for ease of access and discussing their strengths and potential weaknesses. We've covered quite a few, so be sure to check out the Prime Weapon playlist to see our thoughts on weapons like the Great Axe, the Great Sword, the Axe, the Great Katana, and so on. If there's a weapon that you want to see that we haven't covered yet, yes, I know, Hash Brown, you still want to see the polearm video. I'm going to make it. I promise. I promise I'll make it. Be sure to let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to prioritize that video in the future. Let's talk about Varga Purnikawa today. Quick historical reference break. Varga Purnikawa is a reference to one of two mythological texts, which are the foundation of Angampora, a Sri Lankan martial art. The weapon skill Maru, or nerve point strikes, is one of 3 disciplines of Angampora. TIL. Varga Purnikawa is usable by both Monk and Puppet Master, and it brings some interesting components to both. At Stage 4, Varga Purnikawa has plus 202 to base damage, plus 116 delay, 30 strength, dex, accuracy, and magic accuracy, 269 hand-to-hand skill, 12% crit rate, and automaton accuracy plus 30 and automaton level plus 2. Along with these same hidden effects shared across all Prime weapons, which causes occasional double damage on the first round of an attack. At Stage 5, these stats scale up even further to plus 213 base damage, the same 116 delay, 35 strength, dex, accuracy, and magic accuracy, 277 hand-to-hand skill, 15% crit hit rate, and automaton accuracy plus 35 and level plus 3, and then triple damage attack rounds. There are a few key interesting things about Varga Purnikawa in the hand-to-hand meta, and I'm going to speak about this largely from the Monk perspective. I'm sure there are some very interesting niche interactions with Puppet Master and the automaton, and while I'm a Puppet Master fan, I just don't necessarily play the job enough to talk about those at an intelligent level, or even just form sentences in general. But there might be some interesting effects on magic scaling or tank survivability. If you are a Puppet Master, please feel free to share some details down in the comments if you're comfortable outing yourself in that way. One primary thing that is worth discussing is how the weapon competes with Varethragna and God Hands on a variety of levels, primarily in its delay. With 116 additional delay, it falls directly between the plus 81 on Varethragna and the plus 197 on God Hands. I'm not going to go too deep into the complexities of hand-to-hand delay and martial arts, which works a little bit differently than other weapon attack speed calculations, but Monk and Pup have been in a kind of awkward spot for some time where God Hands are just a little bit too slow in some cases, and Varathragna is just a little bit too fast, sometimes overcapping your martial arts delay, which ultimately reduces your TP gain. Personally, I feel like Varga Purnikawa sits in this really nice sweet spot between the two, with a decent balance between attack speed and damage to pull off skill chains while continuing to dish out damage. The crit rate on this weapon, especially at stage 5 with the 15%, is uniquely powerful on Monk. Monk has an extremely high passive crit rate due to the effect of impetus, which can scale up to a additional 50% crit hit rate if you manage to land 50 uninterrupted hits, and focus adding an additional 20% crit hit rate. Add in your base crit rate, accessible gear, it's quite easy for Monk to reach a very high, if not 100% crit hit rate, well in impetus and in focus with Varga Purnikawa on. This is slightly less impactful on Puppet Master, but it's a really great contribution to Monk, especially considering how rapidly Monk attacks with all of its main hand, offhand, and kick attacks in an attack round. Speaking quickly to automaton augments, this is one of only a few weapons that has a direct impact on automaton scaling, while also being a powerful weapon for the Puppet Master. The accuracy plus goes a long way for high-end content for the automaton, and the level +2 and +3 is a uniquely powerful stat for Puppet Master. Just as a quick test, only equipping the stage 4 Varga Purnikawa, our automaton, Charlie, gained +103 accuracy and +73 attack. Considering this is a fairly rare stat on select pieces of Puppet Master gear, it's a great addition to scaling the automaton up. Again, there may be some additional effects with various automaton configurations for your caster pup and so on. I saw recently a thread where somebody was consistently hitting cap damage, magic bursts, and things like that with their automaton caster. So there could be some really awesome opportunities for that particular configuration. But again, I'll leave that up to the experts to discuss. Lastly, the damage multiplier difference is something that I really want to note here. There is a significant difference between the triple damage Empyrean Aftermath and the occasionally deals double damage and occasionally deals triple damage Hidden Prime effect. The Empyrean multi-damage effect on hand-to-hand can proc on multi-attacks on your main hand, while the Prime only affects the first attack round on your main hand. So if you were to do a triple attack, with your first punch, your left hand comes out and hits 3 times. It will only multiply the first hit in that attack round. So you'll hit for 3,000, 1,000, 1,000. On Varathragna, the Empyrean Aftermath, however, it does, I believe, multiply the entire chain of attacks. So all 3 hits with your main hand will be multiplied. Neither of these weapons will multiply the damage on your offhand attacks, so the second half of your attack round, or your kick attacks, but it does give Empyrean a slight advantage in pure white damage scenarios. Because Monk attacks so much with its different hands and limbs, only affecting the first hit reduces the effectiveness of that multi-damage proc prime more drastically than it does on something like Warrior or Dark Knight. Moving on to the weapon skill. Before I made Varga Purnikawa, people warned me that the weapon skill was trash. So I expected to buff up and dish out a depressing 20k Maru and hang my head in disappointment. Fortunately, however, my experience was quite the opposite. Granted, we were heavily buffed in fighting skeletons, which take additional blunt damage, but my first Maru hit for 99,999, and I was pleasantly surprised. The weapon skill consistently hits significantly hard, even hitting for 70k when I was using it at lower TP values, and 80k plus on non-blunt weak mobs like the bats instead of skeletons. It definitely feels consistently stronger than Victory Smite with Varathragna and about on par with Howling Fist or Raging Fist with God Hands, even competing with Footwork Tornado Kick in my experience, but with seemingly more consistent damage. Maru gives Monk, which could previously only create reliable light and radiance chains, access to a darkness skill chain for the first time on a high-end weapon. This is amazing for certain counters like Gartel or Aita, allowing Monk a little bit more versatility in solo skill chains or even coordinated skill chains on controlled fights. Now, despite this weapon having a lot of benefits and interesting factors to it, I think that the primary reason why this weapon isn't often recommended is that it just doesn't offer enough distinctive qualities when compared to other options like Varathragna or especially God Hands. It doesn't quite offer an edge, with God Hands raw damage and 500 TP bonus carrying a huge amount of favor in a lot of fights, and Varathragna's Empyrean Aftermath still shining in a pure white damage output scenario. I do, however, really enjoy how the weapon feels to use. The delay advantage over God Hands being extremely noticeable when skill chaining, and again, I think it just strikes a really nice balance in the delay damage ratio. Not feeling that pressure that you're overcapping your hand-to-hand delay because of how much martial arts you get naturally at a high level when you're using Varathragna, which has shockingly low delay, and just essentially having enough damage and faster strikes to really dish out additional weapon skills when compared to God Hands. I'm a long-time Monk player, and I've always loved the novelty of Puppet Master despite its place in the meta. So I'm fighting with a little bit of bias here when I get to ranking this. Again, I don't know the delicate intricacies of Pup nowadays, so I'm going to speak primarily from the Monk perspective, and as a general review, I'd give Varga Purnikawa a 5 out of 10. That might seem a little bit harsh, but let me go through it a little bit. Varga Purnikawa has a lot of great buffs to Monk, with the addition of Dark Chains, the crit modifier, the balance of attack speed and damage, but those buffs are still arguable side grades to what you might get from God Hands primarily. So should you make a Varga Purnikawa? This falls definitively in the maybe category for me. If you're a longtime Monk or Pup that has the rest of the hand-to-hand options and just wants to catch them all, or wants a little bit more versatility in your kit, being able to contribute to darkness skill chains and things like that, then yeah, it's not a bad pick at all. But if you're looking for a weapon that's going to transform your gameplay, shake up your sortie comp, and things like that, there might be some better options to invest the 3.5 or 8.5 million Gallifrey into. That being said, I have been slowly working on a Monk engaged Ammonon strat. More to come on that later. Once I managed to do it. Ultimately, I'm happy with my decision to make Varga Purnikawa, and I think that you would have fun using it too. If you have Varga Purnikawa and you have a similar or different take, please let me know down in the comments. I stream Final Fantasy XI and other games over at twitch.tv/Heghmoh. If you want to join us in our adventure and chat in real time, stop in anytime. And if you'd like to continue the conversation elsewhere, hop into the Heghmoh Discord. Links are down in the description. See you soon. Bye.